Welcome back to the Mookie Chilson channel, and you are looking live at another cue card. This is an outline, a rundown of what we're going to talk about in the order in which we're going to discuss it, and this is the Spring Spectacular episode here at Mookie Chilson World Headquarters. Some fun and interesting cardboard has come in to the receiving department. I want to show it to you before I can inventory it and get it on the shelves. It begins with a little vintage traded 2 of 2, so we'll explain what that is. There's a Pinhole Express right behind that. I have a little discussion on the magic that's on the back of the cards. If you are willing to look for it, I think you will find this interesting. And I'm starting a new wing here at the World Headquarters, so I think hopefully you'll find this interesting. Anyway, but that will lead directly into a little Mookie Minute on a 2-card Monte that I hope you'll stick around for and enjoy. But let's begin with the vintage traded 2 of 2. Of course, here at Mookie Chilson World Headquarters, we know that the day December 11th, 1971 is a dark day in Mets history. Let me move this out of the way. This was the day that the Mets gave up Nolan Ryan for Jim Fregosi. And as the New York Times wrote in the first paragraph of their article on the front page of the sports section, the New York Mets finally gave up on Nolan Ryan's wandering fastball yesterday. They traded the 24-year-old pitcher and 3 prospects to the California Angels for Jim Fregosi, 6 times the American League's all-star shortstop. And so did the Mets make a great deal? Maybe it looked like it at the time. Nolan Ryan was like a 4th starter, maybe even a 5th starter at that point. And so that was it turned out to be an awful deal. Jim Fregosi spent 1 season in Queens and did not turn into a genius move for the Mets. And I have shown this one before. This is my Mets traded card. So whoever owned this card when that news popped decided they were going to make their own traded card. And you can see there up at the top the word METS is obliterated by a nice black ballpoint pen. And the word Angels is written above the royal crown. Now this was already in the Mookie Chilson World Headquarters. I had this, but when I saw another one pop up online, I had to go for it. This is a little less obliterated for the Mets, so I appreciate that. And the word Caliph above royal crown in the sign behind Nolan's head. And so if you put them together, they now make 2 of 2. So this is a 2 of 2 Nolan Ryan DIY traded card collection, which again, the kid who did this could have no idea, probably had no idea what a great pitcher Nolan Ryan would turn into and how epic and historic his career would be. But I just love this card. This card and this card, my 2 of 2 Nolan Ryan collections. Let me put this back up here. And by the way, also into the World Headquarters springs the Nolan Ryan Pinhole Express. And what do I mean here? So this was Nolan Ryan's 2nd card as a California Angel. In fact, his 72 Topps has a painted-on hat. So this is the first image of Nolan Ryan actually wearing an Angels uniform on a Topps card. And there he is, number 30. And you can see at the top, this is a well-loved card by whoever owned it. Nolan Ryan was beginning to take off and become who he would become as a starting pitcher for the Angels and then the Astros and the Rangers. And what's fascinating to me, if you look at these pinholes, let's count them along with me, starting left to right. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, and up here I think we have 5, 6, 7. So I like to think Nolan Ryan, maybe each time Nolan Ryan threw a no-hitter, the youngster who put this up on their wall took it down and appreciated what they had. So 7 holes for 7 no-hitters, and this is the Ryan Express pinhole card, the latest edition here at Mookie Chilson World Headquarters. Let's move on to talk about a little bit of magic on the back of the card. And you can't start with the back of the card unless you talk about the front of the card. And I want to talk about the 1952 Topps set. This was the moon landing of baseball card design. It sort of changed and revolutionized the industry of producing baseball cards with gum and getting them into kids' hands. And of course, we all know this iconic design of the 52 Topps set. A black and white image that was painted and colorized. You've got the marquee name there with the facsimile autograph and the team logo there. Just a beautiful card. This happens to be my Eddie Wake's pinhole card for the record. And Bowman decided the next year in 53 they had to up their game. And you don't need to be a fan of Alex Bowman 53, although you should be, to know that this was, the arms race was on. Topps put this out. Bowman said, how about this? We're going to do color photography, which was extremely expensive back in that time. And we're just going to let the picture speak for itself. We're not going to put any other logos or text or anything on the front of the card. And we'll just show you stark, beautiful images of the front of these cards and compete. So 52 was Topps. 53 was the Bowman color photography. But the innovation and dueling did not end on the front of the card. If you look at the back of the 1952 Topps cards, of course, you see card 158. You see the big red rectangle up there with Eddie's name and his biographical data. A blurb paragraph there for his biography, which is one of the great biographies of all time, shot by a crazed girl in June 1949. I'm not going to go into it. You know the story. But below that, you had statistics on the back of the card. And this was revolutionary in its own way. Major League batting record and fielding record. You had the past year and lifetime. So two lines for statistics there. So the past year, what did Eddie do in 1951? And what were his lifetime statistics? So they tallied all that up for the youngsters who probably needed this. There was no such thing as Baseball Reference or Wikipedia or anything like that. If you wanted to know these numbers, the back of the card held this gold for you. And Bowman knew that, and Bowman decided they were going to basically rip off the design. Here we have, I'm going to hold Eddie Wakus here and show you the back of this Larry Doby. So there you have that similar red rectangle. You got the number up there. They did a diamond. Topps had a baseball. But you got the blurb, and then you've got down here the same language, in fact. Major League batting record and fielding record, past year and lifetime. Look at those two cells. Except Bowman shrunk those two lines, the past year and lifetime, and they put in a new line down there. And this is the innovation. They left it blank. They left open cells, inviting the young fan who got this card and pulled it out of a pack to keep the card all season long and input the data themselves. Bowman was saying, we can one-up you, Topps, by asking our collectors to interact with the card themselves. And they did. And so I've started looking for cards that have the cells completed. Now, I don't know if you're a big Cincinnati Reds fan. This is Willard Marshall, somebody who I did not know very much about before finding this card at the White Plains Card Show this weekend. But there he is in his beautiful Bowman color image there. And on the back of the card, you can see, never mind the stamp up there, but the youngster who had this card filled in the this year. And you can go to Baseball Reference right now, pause the video and go yourself and see that Willard Marshall in 1953 played in 122 games. He had 357 at-bats, 51 runs scored, 95 hits, 17 home runs, 62 RBI, and batted .266. The young person who owned this card filled in these cells perfectly, without Baseball Reference, without any kind of internet to help them. And this became a completed version of a 1953 Bowman baseball card because Bowman was asking him to do it. And so he did. And I've become fascinated with these cards. In fact, I showed one to Alex Bowman 53, and he said, now you got to complete the set. And I said, don't you tempt my tummy. I might have to do that. And so this is one of the cards. I got this one, but it's not the first one I got. The first one I got in this set, in this fashion that has the completed 1953 statistics in it, is from this card, which is a total disaster. This is a Monte Irvin card from 1953 Bowman. It's a beautiful image of Monte that is sort of destroyed by the paper loss. This card clearly got wet and is warped in some way. And if you turn it over onto the back, it's even worse. I don't know if that's black mold or not. I don't want to know. I'm going to put it in a case as soon as I can. But the youngster who had this card, this was the first card I had, knew that Monte played in 124 games in 1953, 440-something at-bats. He had a great season, 21 home runs. You can't really see it there. Batted .329, you can see there. So bear with me. This is a little bit beat up, but I love it. And I love it because Monte Irvin is one of my guys. I love Monte Irvin. He is a guy who is from New Jersey. He is a guy who lived quite a long, healthy, happy life. He is a guy whose cards I have collected in the past. This is my 1954 Monte Irvin with his autograph there, signed there. Beautiful card, great autograph, and I'm super excited to own that. I also have Monte Irvin is, of course, known for being, in 1941 and 42, he was the best player in the Negro Leagues. He was a center fielder for the Newark Eagles. And this is my Newark Eagles reproduction cap with Monte Irvin's autograph right on it, there in like white chalk marker or something. But it's authenticated by Beckett. And it's one of my favorite things. And one of the reasons I love Monte, of course, we all know that Monte was a great mentor for Willie Mays when he came to the big leagues. One of the other things that we know about Monte Irvin is that he was one of the Negro League ball players that was considered to break the color barrier. It ended up being Jackie Robinson, and of course, history has unfolded the way it is. But one of the great and incredible things that I found on the internet, and it's by way of this website called Retro Sports Radio. It's actually a YouTube channel that has a bunch of different socials. But on Retro Sports Radio, I found an interview of Jackie Robinson, who, of course, we all know broke the color barrier, interviewing Monte Irvin on his radio show. So after Jackie retired, he ended up getting a radio show and interviewing ball players and sports writers and doing all kinds of different things. But here now is Jackie Robinson via Retro Sports Radio, which I urge you to subscribe to, talking to Monte Irvin about his delayed entry into Major League Baseball and the 1951 MVP race. So take a listen to that.
Monte Irvin, I think one of the big unfortunate things in this whole situation as far as baseball is concerned is a guy like Monte Irvin didn't get a chance to get into baseball earlier. How old were you when you first started?
Well, I got started late, Jackie. I was 31 when I started, and of course I was a little disappointed that I couldn't get started at an earlier age.
I think that most people in baseball say that a guy reaches his peak at about 28, 29 years of age, and here you started at 31. Again, I say it's a real shame. Monte, I think in 1951, that was perhaps your greatest year, and you led the league, didn't you, in RBIs, and you came very close, and, well, matter of fact, there were many people who thought that you were the most valuable player. What do you think about the voting for the most valuable player?
Well, I think that there should be a new system, of course, devised to select or choose the most valuable player. Back in the 1951 season, as I can remember, I know I thought I had a pretty good year, and also Sal Magley. And we were real disappointed, of course, that Sal didn't win it. Because he pitched a great ball, and we just thought that Sal would be an automatic shoo-in. But, of course, Campy had a tremendous season, and he was selected.
Mm-hmm. There's no question about Roy having a great year. There was certainly no question about that if it was going to be a giant, it was going to be either you or Sal. Monte Irvin, as I said earlier, I'm awfully sorry because I think Monte could have written a lot of records into the book had he been given an opportunity to, start playing when he was, 20 years of age. We're also happy that you were able to drop by and chat with us.
Monte Irvin would end up eventually getting into the Hall of Fame for his great career, again, from his time in the Negro Leagues to his time in Major League Baseball. He was also a veteran who served in World War II and a great New Jersey native who I happen to be a big fan of. Again, by the way, here's my Sal the Barber Magley card. that was given to me by my buddy Ron in Garfield for helping him out on a deal. Sal Magley had a great 1951 season that Monte thought he could have won the MVP. So Monte was a selfless, great guy. And I'm glad to have this collection. I'm glad to have his stat back 1953 Bowman card, which is helping me launch a new little project and wing at the Mookie Chilson World Headquarters. And I'm really happy that you stuck around and listened to this. So thank you for hanging in there with me, and I will see you next time. Thank you.